for me. Okay, I have to do this video. So, Joe Rogan made a video calling out how bad video games are, right? And how they're a waste of time. Okay. I just found out about it. I just finished watching it and I have to comment. Now, here's the thing. I don't even have to establish the bullshit of that statement. You want to know why? Because Joe Rogan establishes the level of bullshit of his own statement. Because but before he goes on to his little spiel about, 3 years or whatever, you're playing video games, he goes, you want to know what the problem with video games are? They're fucking fun. And then his guest goes, and addictive. And then Joe Rogan says, yeah, I have a real problem with that with video games. Wait a minute, Joe. Did you just establish that not only do you play video games, that you're addicted to video games? That's odd. Because you just made a spiel that if you're addicted to video games, you're going nowhere in life. But you have the most popular podcast in the world. As far as I understand, you make $30 million a year? I can't, quantify that. I heard it. And you made that $100 million deal with XM Radio or whatever? How can you possibly have the most popular podcast in the world if you're addicted to video games, you hypocritical bullshit artist? You literally establish how full of shit your own comment is. Did you literally forget you just said you're addicted to video games? What is wrong with you? I literally played that clip 3 times to make sure I heard him say exactly what I thought he said. Okay? How if you are addicted to video games and you play video games, out of curiosity, Joe, have you been addicted to video games for at least 3 years? Because if you've been addicted to video games for the last 3 years, then you wasted the last 3 years, Joe. Because all you've been doing is playing video games. Except you have the most popular podcast in the world. You have $100 million deal coming up. Do you understand how you've literally invalidated your own bullshit? Do you understand this? Because here's the thing, Joe. Okay? You can play video games and have a job. Shocking! Shocking how you can actually play video games and have a career. Here's another example. I'm going to use you as an example, Joe. Apparently, you can be addicted to video games and have a career. I wonder if Joe Rogan knows that you can be addicted to video games and have a career as having the most popular podcast in the world and get a $100 million deal to be able to do that podcast. I wonder if Joe Rogan is aware of that fact. What level of bullshit does it take to spout that line that you're addicted to video games and then trash people for being addicted to video games that you have nothing to do? Now I want to establish. So Joe Rogan has already established how full of shit Joe Rogan is. Okay? I'm gonna add to it. This whole mentality. Okay, let's go use his example of if you play video games for 3 years. That's it? Do you have a job? If I have a job, which I do, and I play video games for 3 years, did I just waste my 3 years? I've been playing video games for 3 years. So, if people who've only played video games for 3 years, who gets to play video games for only 3 years? Kids who don't have a job, who don't have the responsibilities. So a 15, 16-year-old kid who plays video games is wasting his time playing video games because he hasn't done what you did. Oh, by the way, Joe, in case you forgot, you used to be a stand-up comic. Okay? That was your career, remember? You used to be did you forget the fact that you were a stand-up comic and that in the beginning of your career, you were poor as fuck? Okay? You know what you should do, Joe? You should actually do clips. You should go on YouTube and check clips of Joe Rogan talking about his early career as a stand-up comedian. It might be enlightening to you. I mean, are you fucking serious? Then we have that guy, the example of you could do jiu-jitsu for 3 years, and then you could eventually become, a purple belt. I'm only going by head. And then you go, okay, out of curiosity, Joe, what happens if you do jiu-jitsu for 3 years and you never make it past, and you never make it to a purple belt? Did that person waste 3 years? Can we now chastise people who spend 3 years, doing jiu-jitsu but never going anywhere with it? An activity is only valuable as long as it financially benefits you later on. Because according to Joe Rogan, if you spend 3 years learning jiu-jitsu, it's only of any value if you become a purple belt, be able to get your own school and be able to teach others. Otherwise, according to Joe Rogan, his own example establishes if you spend 3 years doing jiu-jitsu and you never go anywhere with it, you wasted 3 years. So according to Joe Rogan's example, if you do anything for 3 years or for X amount of years and you don't gain financially from it, you just wasted your time. Hey Joe, go fuck yourself. Okay? You literally establish how full of shit you are in your own video. My God! Anyway, had to get that rant off my chest. Luckily, no one's gonna watch this video, so I don't have to worry about repercussions or anybody commenting. But just had to vent. Just absolutely stupid. He used to be a stand-up comic, and he's talking about he would make comments about while he was doing it as a stand-up comic. Okay, he did nothing. Okay, he stayed and did nothing in hotel rooms for years trying to become a stand-up comic, trying to break into the field. How many years did you spend trying to be a stand-up comic, Joe Rogan, before you actually were successful at it? Because if it was more than 3 years, you wasted your time. My God, who buys this bullshit?